Hi, people. It's the DJ Preps Football Preview Show with Brad Locke and Dillon Barnes on, what's today, the 14th of October. It is. We're entering Week 9, Week 7 if you're an MHSAA team. And so we're going to take a look at 3 big games coming up this Friday. We'll preview them. We'll do predictions. We'll do Double Trouble Award and all that good stuff. But before we go any further, of course, we need to remind you about our great sponsor, Pizza Doctor. You can find them in Tupelo at Midtown Point. Great pizza. I mean, we got the meat lovers here. We got a cheese over there. They got all kinds. We got the Mexican pizza, the fajita chicken pizza. It's all good stuff. So check them out. They are nice enough to provide this lunch for us, and so I'm going to show them some love. Again, Midtown Point, aka the Old Mall in Tupelo. Okay, let's do this, Dillon.
Let's go.
Last week's predictions. Hey, I went 2-1. Dillon went 3-0. So the overall standings is not important. Okay, let's move on to the games to watch.
The overall standings are Dillon's 11-6 and Brad is 7-10.
That's what I get for giving him a script. Okay, got some big games this week. Let's look at 3 of them. First one, New Albany at Corinth. New Albany is 3-2. Corinth 4-2. They were both 1-0 in Division 1 4A play. So, big game. Could be a high-scoring game,
yes.
Dillon. So, keys to the game. Key number 1, New Albany's improving defense versus Corinth's more balanced offense. New Albany, they've only allowed 24 points over their last 2 games. They've had struggles with defense in the past. Corinth, of course, they run that wing T. Mm-hmm. They get a lot of yards on the ground, but they got a good quarterback, Bronner Krajine, that can throw it. Mm-hmm. So, I don't have the updated stats in front of me, but I feel like they're a little more balanced maybe this year. And you've seen them.
I've seen them twice, and they obviously base everything out of that wing tee, but they're not afraid to open things up, and they'll line up in shotgun and do some different things with Krajine because he can for a sophomore get a lot of pocket presence, can throw the ball really well, and they've got weapons everywhere too that can catch the ball and run after the catch and stuff. And Caden Betts, he's going to be a big feature. In this game,
right.
He can go out wide at wide receiver and stay in the backfield. He can do a lot of different things for you. So they are balanced, and like you said, New Albany's defense is improving too. So,
but this will, I think, really give us a good idea of how much New Albany's defense has improved. Of course, they got Trent Hammond as the defensive coordinator, the former Tupelo head coach, and so he's a good coach. So I think he's got them going in the right direction. So it'll be a fun matchup there. Key number 2, ball security. Now, as good as New Albany has been on offense, they have had some struggles with turnovers. Joe Mathis, the quarterback, and the running back C.J. Hill have both lost 3 fumbles. Now, although Mathis has only thrown 1 pick, so he's taking care of the ball that way. But you don't want to give Corinth a short field. No, so got to take care of the ball. And then key number 3, it being debate season in that spirit, who would win in a debate? New Albany coach Cody Stubblefield or Corinth coach Todd Lowry? I will say, Todd Lowry could probably talk to anybody under the table.
Yeah, that's probably really true.
So they'd probably keep having to buzz him, say, "Hey, your time's up, Todd," like in that first presidential debate.
Yeah.
Just so.
I don't know if he'd interrupt you though. Maybe he wouldn't.
Or he just wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah, that's it. Like he probably isn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, Todd, we love that as sports writers. That the more quotes we can get, the easier our job is. Prediction time, and let's see, who should go first, Dillon? I think you should go first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I agree with you. I think that it's going to be a high-scoring game. And New Albany's performance against Amory gives me some, with their defensive performance against Amory, and Amory's so tough offensively and stuff that, it gives me some pause. But I just think it's going to be high-scoring. I think Corinth pulls it out 42-28.
Okay. I am with you there, Dillon, my man. I will say Corinth in a high-scoring game. A little bit closer. I'll say 38-34.
Wow,
Corinth over New Albany, yeah.
That is close.
So that's game number 1. Game number 2, North Pontotoc at Tishomingo County. North is 3-3. Tish is 2-4. They're both 0-2 in division play, but it's kind of a fascinating game to me, honestly. I mean, Tish has Richard Russo, a new head coach who's won wherever he's been. North Pontotoc is consistently a strong team in 4A every year. So 3 keys to the game. Key number 1, North Pontotoc's backfield versus Tishomingo linebacker Tyreek Duckett. This kid has just had a huge season so far. 82 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. I mean, he was originally going to be like a two-way guy, and they were really going to use him a lot on offense, but he's just blown up on defense and has really been a big factor for them. So, and of course, North Pontotoc has some good running backs.
Yeah.
Of course, they got Reese Kittner at quarterback. They got Raekwon Booth at running back, and some other guys in there. So that'll be a big key there. Key number 2, hey, again, ball security. Blake Counts, the Tishomingo County quarterback. He's done a pretty good job, but he has thrown 12 interceptions. That raises an eyebrow.
Yeah. Well, even to add to that too, even on the other side, we just talked about Kentner. He threw 5 interceptions against Ripley.
He did
in one game. So and that's really the story of that game. Why they lost to Ripley, 5 interceptions, and that's the end of that. So ball security is going to be another big deal. So
certainly. Then key number 3. Excuse me. Key number 3. Which team is better equipped to handle the specter of a dystopian world ushered in by the pandemic and the collapse of our weakened national infrastructure?
I don't even know what to add.
I think they're both pretty well equipped.
Yeah.
They could handle it. Tough kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I mean, that kind of just takes me off guard. I don't know.
Prediction time. I'll go first. North Pontotoc, I think, would be normally favored. But the Vikings have lost 3 in a row. So they're probably struggling a little bit with confidence and some things thematically. Tisch County, 2-4, but they've played some good teams pretty close. They played East Union pretty close. And I think, again, Richard Russo has injected some enthusiasm into the program. So I'm going to go with a bit of an upset here. I'm going to say Tisch County 26, North Pontotoc 24.
That's a good pick. I think this game's going to be close. I think, like you said, North Pontotoc's kind of struggling right now with some things. And Tisch is much improved in year 1 under Russo. And Sam Hathorne's offensive coordinator over there, and he's done a really good job of that offense. They put up points every week.
Yeah.
But I just think North's got just the more athletes to turn to. And so I'm going to take the team that's got more athletes to choose from. And I think Raekwon Booth's going to have a big night. And I think North wins 28-21.
All right. Maybe I'll gain up some ground. Maybe I'll gain some ground on this pick. Probably not. Then game number 3. Boy, this is going to be a fun one. Nettleton at Amory. Huge Division 1-3A game. They're both 2-0 in division.
Mm-hmm.
Amory is our number 1 ranked small school. Nettleton is number 4.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'd remember that.
Yeah.
I'd be the
Boonville's 2 and Biggers was 3. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And Boonville is also 2-0 in division,
yes.
Same division. So you got a 3-way.
And they got Kossuth this week, so
You've got a 3-way tie in that division at 2-0. So Nettleton and Amory will be meeting. That's a big Monroe County rivalry, and then Nettleton 5-0, Amory 5-1. Keys to the game. Key number 1, I would say Nettleton's defensive backs against the Amory passing game. Of course, Hunter Jones, great quarterback at Amory. Feels like he's been there forever. And then he's got great receivers like Braxton Griffin and Jay Hampton. And, looking back over their schedule, Nettleton hasn't really faced a big-time passing attack yet.
yeah.
Last week they did a good job against Kossuth, but they're not really a throwing team. In fact, their 2 longest completions came from running backs on trick plays. So don't really know how good they'll be against the pass. I mean, they've had some good defensive backs in the recent years, but we'll just have to see about that. Then key number 2 for Amory, I think they need to pressure Davis Oswalt, the quarterback for Nettleton, quickly. Because if you let him sit in the pocket, he's pretty accurate from what I've seen. I covered him last week in that Kossuth win. But if there's no one open and you're not pressuring him, he can scramble. He rushed for 145 yards last week. And they'll have some plays. They'll call some runs for him as well. So he's a double threat. You can't let him beat you both ways. You're going to have to try to get to him and get him on the ground, I think. And then key number 3, not so much a key, it's just an observation. Both head coaches have 2 first names.
This is true.
John Keith, Alan Glenn.
Pretty
I don't know.
weird note.
Yeah.
How often is that going to happen this year?
I don't know. It's yeah.
Are they probably the only 2 in our area that has?
Could be right about that.
I can't think of nobody else off the top of my head.
Me either. Okay.
Yeah.
Prediction time. You go first.
I think this game's going to be probably the closest game of the week. I think these 2 teams are pretty evenly matched. Both of them, the quarterback battle is probably the best we're going to see around this area with Oswalt and Hunter Jones. I went and just looked because I had a hard time trying to figure out which way I wanted to go. Amory is 19-4 all time in this series, and they've won the last 6 in a row. And out of the last 5 meetings, Amory scored over 40 points. So I think Nettleton's so much improved that neither team's getting to 40. But Amory's offense is just enough, 38-35.
38-35. I also will pick Amory at home. Like as good as Nelson has been, the schedule that it's faced, I'm still not 100% sure what they are. Amory has played a pretty good schedule so far. So I'll go with the Panthers, 30-20. There we go. And those are your 3 games to watch. And look for more coverage of these games later on in the week in the Daily Journal and at djournal.com. Let's wrap up the show with the Double Trouble Award. And it goes to the aforementioned Davis Oswald. Or is it Oswald?
I would say Oswald. I don't know.
I'm going with Oswald. Him and Roderick Patterson in that 55-20 win over Kossuth. Oswald, my boss is looking at me.
Maybe he's Irish. Maybe it's Oswald.
Could be.
Maybe.
Davis Oswald, the quarterback, was 11 of 17 for 221 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he rushed for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns on 10 carries. Patterson, the running back, had 122 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on 18 carries, and he had a 33-yard touchdown reception.
Pretty good.
That went over Kossuth. So there you go. That is it for this episode of the DJ Preps Football Preview Show. Be sure to also check out our podcast, Prep Rally. You can find it every Wednesday in iTunes, any of your podcast apps, or online at preprally.djournal.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at djournalpreps. I'm on there at Brad Locke. He's on there at Dillon Barnes DJ. And thank you once again to Pizza Doctor. You can find them online too, by the way. I think it's TupeloPizza.com. Or just Google it. But they're at Midtown Point here in Tupelo. Great stuff. So we'll be back next week. Until then. Jason's he wants to turn it off so bad. Until then.